if you just wanted to say and spell your first and last name and then your title.
Sure, it's Eric Lindman, ERICLINDMAN, Director of Public Works and Utilities.
Okay. All right. So tonight it was basically just a public information session, kind of showing the proposed final design of the new wastewater and drinking water treatment facilities.
Right, I think it was really just to, again, present that information again to the public and offer the public yet another opportunity to come hear the information, for us to give an update, and then for them to ask any questions that they may have of us as we move forward.
Okay. So the proposed new site for the drinking water facility is proposed to move about a block north of the current location. Is the wastewater treatment facility going to be moved to a new location?
No, the wastewater treatment facility is staying where it's at.
Okay.
The water treatment facility is moving about a mile north, but to the west side of the river.
Okay.
Yes.
Obviously, a major emphasis in both presentations for both facilities tonight was that improvements or upgrades haven't been made since the 80s and 90s respectively for both facilities. So I guess you, along with others in the city, agree that it's time and past time for improvements to both buildings?
Right. I think, when we look at these types of facilities, they're the largest assets that the city owns, right? So the wastewater treatment facility, if you were to build it new today, would be about $180 million. And so they're very large assets. And they set us apart from our more rural neighbors because it allows us to provide these facilities, safe drinking water. We take and treat waste water with these facilities, and allows us higher and better use of the lands that we have within city limits by, larger developments, industry, commercial developments. And so these facilities typically have upgrades about every 20 to 30 years, and these are the major upgrades. On the wastewater side, it's been a good 30 years, a little over 30 years since we've done this, and they are multi-generational projects, so we anticipate that this facility and whatever we put in is going to function for 50 plus years, other than just standard maintenance. On the drinking water facility side, it's been in its current location for a long time. We are constrained with land, and we do have regulations that we have to meet by 2022. So we want to meet those, but we also want to be able to meet the future needs of the city, again, because it's multi-generational. So having more space, relocating that plant at this point in time is a better use of the funds. Yes.
So the rates for each bills
yes.
that customers would see, it's going to be increased incrementally over the course of the construction project. Is that correct?
Right. So we anticipate the drinking water treatment facility will have two separate increases, one in 2020 and then one in 2022. Okay. So we have to do two full rate cases with the PSC because they are the ones who make final determination on the drinking water side of things. And so we're in the process of the first one right now. On the wastewater side, there'll be a stepped increase for the next 3 years. So we did one in 2019 in February, and then the next 3 years we'll have a similar step for the next 3 years until that facility is complete. And those step increases and the costs you saw tonight are based on the borrowing. So we had 80 million and 41 million. So that's based on $121 million worth of borrowing. We also have a 5-year capital plan with obviously capital projects that we do every year. That's not going away. And so we also have to, as we do every year, borrow for those. And so Ellers is working with us not only on the treatment plant borrowing that we're doing for both facilities, but they're also looking at our overall capital budgets and the additional borrowing that we may need to do over the next 5 years to maintain our facilities. Okay. So that will be separate, and that will be a potential increase in rates beyond what this 121 million is. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, I'm sure one big question people in the city have is how the city's affording, is able to afford the project or able to pay for the project.
Right now, it comes down to all the residents, all the businesses. I mean, we all pay that use these facilities and the utility rates. So this isn't based on taxes or the levy. This is based on user rates and utility rates that we pay for municipal water and wastewater facilities. And so, in order to do this, we have to raise the rates to generate that revenue to pay this loan back.
Okay, so I guess where is the money coming for the 80 million price tag and the 41 million?
So the DNR has a loan program. It's an environmental loan program, and it's federally subsidized. And so for the wastewater side of things, it's called the Clean Water Fund. And so that's where that money will come from. On the drinking water side, it's the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program, and that's where the drinking water will come from. Both of them are underneath the DNR, and they're federally subsidized. Right now, the interest rates are about 1.65%.
Okay. Last question I have for you. So doing this project now is only gonna, you believe that it's only gonna, I guess, save the city in the long run and better serve current and future generations?
I do. I mean, I feel like with the regulations that we're facing and some of the issues that we're having at both the water and the wastewater treatment plant, this will correct not only those now, but will allow us to address any future issues. And so right now, to ensure we maintain compliance and don't get into that reactive emergency situation, we need to be proactive in maintaining these facilities well. For us as well as the generations to come. So, yes.
So you mentioned earlier that the DNR, or the not the wastewater, the drinking water treatment plant is being moved because a lot of DNR regulations are changing. And I noticed in the presentation that the cost of that could change because of one of those regulations being moved up. Can you talk about what that regulation is and how that could potentially affect that cost?
Correct. Yeah. So when we look at our wells, we get our drinking water from wells, and so from the groundwater, and so because we're close to surface water and they're shallow wells, considered shallow wells, and we're near the Wisconsin River, they have a higher potential for pathogens to enter that, especially as the river comes up and goes down and that groundwater fluctuates, and so the DNR considers that groundwater under the direct influence of surface water. And with that, right now, typically what we would do is we'd bring the water in, we treat it for iron and manganese, put in disinfection, and then send it out to the distribution system. Groundwater under the direct influence, we have to do additional detention time, larger tanks, potentially chemicals, depending on how the processes work out, and allow that what they call like a 4-log removal, so of any pathogens that might be in the water have that ability. So with that comes additional processes, additional equipment, and everything. So Becker Hoppy is working on those final processes and making that determination. We are designing for that, and that part of the design and it is going to be actually bid as an alternate, and so we will determine if we have a good bidding environment, maybe we don't need to increase the cost. But if we do, we want that option. So we want everybody to be aware that this wasn't a consideration. The DNR didn't tell us about this when we started the planning process, but our conversations this spring, they did bring this up, and so okay.